I was with them, at the games. I was training every day and eating with them. And
Wishman, good after. Have we started? We've started. Ah. Good evening, and welcome back to the One Celtic Fans View this evening. Let me just do some housework whilst I'm here. How are you all doing this evening? I am doing an early one this evening before people start saying, "What are you doing on at this time?" I am going to do a watch along on the Basders football channel for the Hibs game tonight, just to see, because everyone else in Scotland's going to be watching the game, so there's no point at doing a Celtic video at the same time as kick-off for the Hearts Hibs game, because I think that most people will be wanting Hibs to win that one. But anyway, there's a bit of Celtic stuff to get spoken about. First of all, Chris Sutton. Chris Sutton dives into the hurrah. Going to be watching of the ticket situation. The ticket situation for the derby. Chris Sutton says, not sure what the fuss is about. Celtic's ticket allocation at Ibrox. If the Scottish Cup rules allow up to 20% of the stadium's capacity, then that's what it should be. It would be good to get back to how it used to be in the league as well. Would you welcome back 7,500 to both games, home and away? Martin O'Neill says that when he was down south doing punditry, he felt that the Glasgow derby was not what it was, having looked at it from afar. And he said it just doesn't, with no atmosphere there, it just isn't the same at all, says the manager. But what do you think? Tell me in the comments section. Now, there is a bit of news regarding Rio Hitati. Also, a publication of comment said that Celtic have no intention of letting Rio Hitati be sold in the next couple of weeks. The 28-year-old has still a big part to play for this team in the chase for the Premiership. Whilst a lot of us would absolutely love it if he was sold, because there's one thing for sure, Hitati just doesn't do enough in the eyes of a lot of the Celtic fans. So tell me what you think about that one. The speculation that he was going to go down to Brazil. He was touted out in Brazil through an intermediary, not through Celtic. Celtic aren't pushing for this, but it's seemingly come out that Celtic want to keep the player. In other news, Kieran Tierney did not suffer a concussion, so he's fine to play. And Martin O'Neill says he broke a little bone in his nose. I'll tell you one thing, Tierney's he's done some damage to himself in a Celtic shirt over the years, hasn't he? Yay for Hatate. Absolutely brilliant, isn't it? Rest Tierney and give a few others like Sriracha game time. Yeah, I think that would maybe be the right thing to do, but you never know, because Martin O'Neill, I think he was a bit peeved the way that the game went against Dundee with too many changes, but Tierney's determination, and ultimately, I mean, Kieran Tierney is one of the players that should be playing every week and should be doing his all, because he's the highest paid Celtic player on 50 grand a week. And is Kieran Tierney worth 50 grand a week? That's the big question. Isn't the same, but that mob couldn't stand losing in their own midden minds. Yes, they couldn't. They couldn't. Katie has been through the wars just this season. 7,000, we shouldn't accept second best. 7,500. Joseph said, no, Bazzi hasn't damaged himself. Others have kicked and elbowed him. Yeah, I said he's been in the wars, hasn't he? Do you know what I mean? But anyway, they started this. They just didn't like us partying. Yes, this is true. And they're the ones that are going to have to open up the stadium. Now they're already complaining online that some of their season ticket holders will miss out on games like this. Well, it's a case of tough shit. Hopefully the old Hibbies do us a turn tonight, yes, and I will be doing a watch along for that one on there we go. Lives. Copy this. I'm not going to do it on a Celtic channel. I'll do it on that channel, which keeps everything separate. Can't really be doing Hearts, Hibs watch-alongs on a Celtic channel, can we? Not really. But anyway, never let them Hun dogs forget it either. No, we shouldn't. We shouldn't. Anyway, I've just watched yes, I'm just about to talk about that next, the Julian Araujo interview. That was an interesting interview by the young lad, talking about his life growing up, talking about, it's going to play again, talking about the fact that when he was a kid, he used to play football just like the rest of us. You would get, in his case, it was a couple of sandals, and they would put them out as the goalposts, which I thought was really good. And then he spoke about him going to Barcelona, and he says it would have done. He'd loved that time, and it's all been part of his journey. He wasn't sad that it didn't work out at Barcelona. He was more pragmatic about it. The fact that he, it's football is a journey, and a lot of fans seem to forget about that. But he also spoke about his early memory. For me, football's been everything. It's always been everything that he wanted to do from a young boy, was to be a professional football player. The sacrifices that his family had to make, and that's something that people forget. People give, and I've spoken about it before. We give players stick. We give players stick for not being good enough and all the rest of it, but we don't realise that the years and years of the parents taking them to games when they're younger, and then obviously once the players get a little bit older, they start going on away trips with the team and stuff, and getting bus journeys and all the rest of it. But it's still the parents that would drive them to the ground and drop them off at the ground and everything, and during their times off and stuff, using trash cans, as he said, as goalposts, kick the can back in our day. But we do forget that footballers, and it doesn't matter what country they come from. We are, we give players and tell them they're absolutely rubbish, but they're living their own dream. And that's what came across with him talking with that interview with Celtic today. And it was really good. He's found it interesting in Scotland. He's found the pressure is something that he looks forward to. He says pressure at playing at Celtic is nothing compared to the pressure his parents had when he was growing up, and really struggling for cash. And I mean, there's a lot of people that can think about those days, and it wasn't so long ago that a lot of people in Scotland would have went through similar things. He says that his dad had to sell bread when he was a young kid, just to make some extra cash, and it was a really good interview. If you haven't watched it, go and watch it. Not right now though, maybe through the Hearts game or something. But anyway, talking about his time at Glasgow as well, he says bumping into people's in the street. Better take that down now. It's not the best comment to leave up forever. Talking about people in the street, and in Glasgow, he says every time he bumps into them, he says, I'm instantly recognised, and how big the club is. You can see the passion in their eyes and the way they speak about the badge. It's this club. He says that's what really motivates him, and that's what wants to make him do more for Celtic. So yeah, it was a good interview with him. It went on for around about 20 minutes or so, didn't it? Can't remember. Yeah, it went on for quite a while. 25 minutes. But anyway, that is that. We can get rid of that. The Celtic lineup tomorrow. Martin O'Neill. Martin O'Neill says, he's not going to change it too much with the games that are coming up. Obviously, he's going to watch the game tonight and hopes that Hibs do the job for him and take some points off of Hearts at the top of the table. Not that it's in Hibs' hands who wins the league, but it'll be a good bit of motivation for the Celtic squad. But Joseph Davison says, Baz, it's hard work dropping your kids off at Trinent 3 nights a week, also Saturday and Sundays for games, 5 years between working, and the other son is at Queen's Park twice for 3 years. I know it's not easy, mate. I know it's not easy. I'm just reading some of the comments. With AJ due a move soon, looking at getting Araujo on a permanent. I don't think Alistair Johnson spoke about this before he got injured. And he spoke about being at Celtic for the rest of his career. And he said that it's something that he would be up for. So I think it's a bit presumptuous to say that Alistair Johnson's due a move. Alistair Johnson won't get a move this summer because he's been injured this whole season. There is absolutely nobody's coming in for Alistair Johnson this year. He's not played football for a year. You generally don't get a move if you've been out injured for the majority of the season. But anyway, I was talking about Araujo. I was talking about Julian Araujo. He was talking on Celtic TV this afternoon. He did a lengthy podcast, and typical Celtic style, nobody watches it. It's only had 1,300 views. I mean, Celtic fans. That's one of the things that gets me. Celtic fans cry out for more media stuff. And then generally when Celtic FC do their official podcasts, it doesn't get the views. It just doesn't get the views at all. Can't please fans at all. You really can't please at all. Anyway, 90 minutes in the cup was terrible. Players have to go up a level, says Blackie. I think that Martin O'Neill was talking about the run of games that we now have, and the fact that with the cup games, the Europa. Some people, Martin O'Neill said that, some people will say, look, if you're not going to win the competition, what's the point being in the Europa? And Martin O'Neill said that, he didn't want the results in the past. He doesn't want the results in the past to go to waste. Martin O'Neill wants revenge for 2003. Mark my words for it. Mark my words for it. There is no way that Martin O'Neill will not put his all into winning the game against Stuttgart. He knows how difficult the games will be, but there is no way that he going to put in a B team or such or change the squad play or take the foot off the gas because we need to concentrate on the league. There is no way that Martin O'Neill is going to do that. Not a chance. Martin O'Neill wants to go all the way. He wants to win the Europa. He may not say it in public just now, but he does ramble on a bit. But the way that he talks about, not giving up on Europe, it's not within his nature, for one. But anyway, I think the window has been bad for incoming bids. It's been bad for incoming bids. We turned down 25 million for a player. Right, you? No. Right. You want to? Fucking little attention-seeking shite, that. Fucking dogs. That was not when your dog wants attention, starts chewing your slippers. Little shite. Anyway, if you get through, you're not winning the league or the cup. How do you know? How do you know? Don't know. What are the odds on Celtic to win the Europa? I have no idea. Win the Europa would mean straight into the Champions League. Yes, it would do. It would do. And what would be the irony? There's a lot of publications that pause of God, a lot of shite. I'm sitting looking and going, what the fuck's that tune? And I've not given that enough attention today. It's attention little. It was the canine. It was the canine. Cheeky fuckers. But anyway, I'm fucking roasting already. Where were we? I'm losing the plot now because of the bloody dog. Yes, the Europa. I think that the Europa, Typhoon McFlustery has just thrown a spanner in the works. I'm astonished that Police Scotland haven't thrown a spanner in the works with their clash at Ibrox. What's your thoughts? I've spoken about it already, mate. Chris Sutton's spoken about it. We need to get the full fan base in. It's up to the football authorities. It's the Huns. The police never stopped the 7,000 allocation, 7,500 allocation. It was Rangers. It's nothing to do with the police, and the police are quite right to say use deal with it. It's not a police matter. All we do is we police the game. You know, for me, it's the police that are doing the right thing, staying the fuck out of football. But anyway, we spoke about it earlier. Getting back to Martin O'Neill and Europe. People are saying that if we go all the way in Europe, we're not winning the league, we're not winning the cup. You tell that to Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain. End the conversation. End the conversation. You tell that to a guy that went all the way in the league, all the way in the cup, all the way in the Champions League at the highest level. But our fans seem to have it that just we won't be able to do it and won't be able to get it over the line. I just say let's wait and see what happens with the season as it pans out. Polo says it was easier. Of course it was always easier the old way. I mean, why is the Polos shat it? I don't think the Polos have shat it. It's nothing to do with them. If the Polos had shat it, the Polos would say, just get it back to normal. It was way easier to police when you had... I don't know if you've ever been to an away game at Ibrox, by the way, saying it was the safest game to go to. It's not safe now. All you've got is this fucking 12-foot fucking wall between us. And they're throwing stuff over the fucking wall and stuff. And then you're too close to each other in the stadium. It was way safer when it was 7,500. Way safer. Been to Ibrox many a time over the years, and the full stand was always... It was one of the safest away games that you could go to. It was safer than going to Edinburgh and playing Hearts. Because when you go to Hearts game, you come down the road where the buses all park, you go under the railway bridge, you've got a big metal fence, you're all crushed going into the back of the stadium at Hearts, and then back in the day, you were right, when you had the full stand, you were getting hit with coins and everything from the Hearts end. You never got that at Ibrox. Never. Never got that at Ibrox. You've got a net. Means absolutely nothing. The game was way, way, way cheaper. Way easier, sorry, to police. Might not have been cheaper, but it was way easier. It probably was cheaper to police because you had that big, huge... When you went to Ibrox, you parked down the industrial estate and then you walked up round the corner along the road. You had that bit of ground that there's the car park, and there was about 100 metres between you and them. You never got close to them. Never got close to the Rangers fans at all. But Goalkeeper safety. Well, you need big nets at the back of um, remember we got through the Gorgie Road end. And that was a long time ago. That was a long time ago, mate. I can remember those days. You used to be able to walk through that end, and then the Edinburgh Post just went, shh, put up the big barrier and told us to come down the other side. But anyway, we move on. We do move on. Right. With Kieran Tierney being back in contention, who starts for Celtic tomorrow? Martin O'Neill isn't taking Livingston lightly. He says that Livingston, doesn't matter what people say about the game tonight. Celtic have still got a game on their hands tomorrow night, and they have to win that game. Livingston is it's a cracking one. There's always bother bother around Roseburn down from Haymarket. It's a good away day though. It is a good away day. I can't talk about it because I've been in trouble because of that certain game. I will admit that back in the day. But anyway, it was a long, long time ago. KT will start tomorrow, says Helen. Martin O'Neill says that midweek games just keep on coming. His players need the supporters. Tomorrow night, there won't be any Green Brigade, I believe. Not that I've looked today, but hopefully they get back in sometimes soon. I thought that the board may have done something today, but they didn't. Martin O'Neill says that talking about an ex-Rangers player taking over as manager, he says that they will have plenty of character and they will have a really good fight against the Celtic team. But then again, we've got Junior Adamu, we've got Big Tam, and we've also got Oxlade Chamberlain. Oxlade Chamberlain, who has had 2 training sessions with Celtic. Martin O'Neill says that he's looking in pretty good condition. He says he's trained pretty well. They're going to have a little look later on today, well, that would have been today, in the afternoon training session to see if he will get any game time tomorrow. It'll be interesting. I think you need to get him somewhere. Did I read somewhere the day that Big Rocky somehow injured himself getting changed? I have no idea. Like I say, I tend not to read up about Celtic players once they've left on loan or permanently. Oh, I can't be arsed with this watch along tonight. I'm absolutely shattered. I'll be lucky if I last 90 minutes watching this lot. But I will do it. I'm just reading some of the comments. Start Sriracha to give KT a bit of a rest. I think that's a pretty good shout. Is there anyone else you would start? I mean, would you start? I mean, I think you would start Big Tam. But then you could actually rest him. You could give him a bit of a rest and get Junior Adamu. Because he looks like a player that's got full of fight and they'll be right up for it. I'd love to see Adamu and Big Tam up front in games like this. At Celtic Park. 4-4-2, change of formation. Because you're not going to play a 3. Martin O'Neill won't play a 3. The players definitely didn't like a 3 at the back. Was more than obvious. So will Martin O'Neill go to a 4-4-2? That's the only change that Martin could make. It's going to be an interesting one. But I think that, do you think that, yeah, I know there's loads of games to come. I am going to drop down to doing one video in the morning and then one late at night. And then that'll be it. It'll just be half an hour ones for a couple of days just till I get my energy levels back up because I've been busy as. But you can't complain about being busy. Being busy, you're making dosh, as they say. Anyway, who else do you think will start tomorrow evening? I think it'll be a midfield of, where is it? Teams. I like the look of Adamu. He's got pace, that boy. Yep, I would actually start. I would rest Trusty. I would put Araujo on. I'd put Sriracha on. And then you're going to play Scales and Taylor. Do you bring on Benjamin Arthur to give him some game time? Is it worth the risk against Livingston, or do you bring him on later on in the game? I think that Benjamin Arthur he needs to come on later in the game just to get some game time. Keep Kieran Tierney on the bench, keep Colby Donovan on the bench. And it's a shame for Tony Ralston because he's going to get nowhere near the team. The midfield, that's an interesting one because you're going to start with Callum McGregor, and does Arnie Engels come back into it? I think so, but the way that Martin O'Neill was talking, he felt, although it was good to give Arnie a little bit of a rest with all the games that are coming up, and just make sure his head's in the right place after we turn down the bid, whether Martin O'Neill said it or not. Does Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain come into contention from the beginning of the match, or do you just give him the last 30 minutes of a game? So that would mean bringing on having like Benji Negrin, Arnie Engels and Callum McGregor starting the game, with Luke McCowan coming on second half and Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain. Then there's the front three. Do you start Big Tam, or does Kelechi Iheanacho? Now, Kelechi Iheanacho, who's also on an unbelievable wage at Celtic, and I don't know if that went live tonight or if it's going live tomorrow. What's his wage again? Chamberlain's wage. It's not there. Anyway, he's another person that's on an absolute crazy amount of money. Kelechi Iheanacho, does he get some game time just to get his fitness up after his injury? Do you start with Junior Adamu, or do you start with Big Tam the Czech? I think that you're going to start with Tam the Czech. But then again, the way that Junior Adamu finished the game, do you go with him just to give Tam the Czech a place on the bench, or is the bench place going to go to Kelechi Iheanacho? Will he even get on the bench? Do you start Sebastian Tenetti? Yes, he's a must start. And then it comes to the other position, Dyson Maeda, Mavuka on the bench, Yang on the bench to give them a bit of a rest. James Forrest on the bench. Tell you one thing, it's finally starting to look like a decent team that we've got on the bench at games, because the majority of this season, the bench has been absolute wash, absolute rubbish. And an update on the Celtic loan situation. Celtic still have, I don't know what's going on at Celtic with the whole Odom Ohm thing, because Celtic still have him on the website as loaned out until the end of the season. It's absolute bonkers. And they still have him loaned out to Los Angeles. Now, we've seen him in training. Don't know, we've seen him in training sessions. There you go, Odom Ohm. Hateo Inamura. And you know one of the crazy things? Shin Yamada is on £8,000 a week. Who the hell sanctioned the deal for Shin Yamada to get £8,000 a week at Celtic? Johnny Kenny's on £5,000 a week, which I thought was unbelievable. I think it's just over £5,500 a week or something. But Shin Yamada, £8,000 a week. Ohm's not going to play for us again, unfortunately. Yeah, but he's still at Celtic and he's still training away. So it's weird that Celtic haven't just said, look, we'll just pay off the end of your contract, mate. I don't know. Nobody knows, because nobody asked Martin O'Neill. when you get all these reporters going in, they don't ask the telling questions. They ask the same shite all the time. Anyway, we've got to start with two up front. Ooh. We went from having Kenny and Dyson as our strikers to now having Kelechi, Adamu, and Big Tam. This is true, and I think it's getting Dyson Maeda away from that striker's position was always a target, because I think that Dyson Maeda, whilst he's had good numbers last year, his numbers this year have just been absolutely woeful. We've got to start with two up front. I think the manager will know best, and I don't think that the manager's too fussy about changing the formation of the team. Realistically, I mean, we could sit online. I mean, people are saying 3-5-2. You don't need wingers with a 3-5-2. Wing backs give you the width. That's how. If you don't need wingers on a 3-5-2, you're then sitting with a bunch of players: Yang, Tinekti, Joe Mavuka, James Forrest, Michelangelo Balak-Wisha. You've got 5 players that are then trying to play positions that are unfamiliar to them. Martin O'Neill's going to stick with the 4-3-3, whether you like it or not. And everyone could say there's going to be a change of formation, there's going to be a change of that. Martin O'Neill knows way more and way better than who can I pick on? Brown Warrior. There we go, because he's got a formation up and he thinks that Martin will change it. But anyway, it's not picking on you personally, mate. It's just we just wait and see. Livy will sit back. Tama's target in the box for me. But if they're sitting with 5 at the back, 6 in the box, you sometimes need that other player. But the other player could be an attacking midfield player coming into the box, and that is where, if you play Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain in the team, it allows Callum McGregor to get further forward. And it also allows Arnie Engels to make those runs into the box. And Benji Negrin also at certain points. But Benji's kind of not getting a start the way that you would maybe like to be. Nothing, mate. Just shows you weren't listening. How many of those loaned out will be here next season? And none. Johnny Kenny. Out of all the players, Inamura, Rocky, Welsh, Adam Montgomery's back at Celtic. Don't know why he's out on loan. He's injured until the end of the season. He's back at Celtic. Odomon, Lewis Palmer, Shin Yamada. £8,000 a week. Who sanctioned that? That's absolutely bonkers. And Johnny Kenny. Johnny Kenny will be back at Celtic, whether you lot like it or not. Because Celtic see him as a player that he might get loaned out actually next season. He might get loaned out just to get, because he was meant to be loaned out this season. He was never meant to be at Celtic this season. So, but anyway. So that's what, 2, 4, 6, 7 players will leave the club just from the loan players. And as a club in the we're going to get Shin Yamada back. There is no way as a club in the second tier in Germany paying Shin Yamada £8,000 a week. Not a chance. We've given him to some German team, and you're lucky if they're paying half his wages. There is not a chance that they're taking Shin Yamada at £8,000 a week. KT ain't starting tomorrow. No chance, says Chill Pill. I am on early, Jim, because people asked this morning if I would do a watch along for the Hibs Hearts game. And I will be, and that is the link for it. Benji goes into position, great out of the box. We need other midfielders to be more dynamic running off the ball into channels. Big Tam will header a couple goals in the next game. Well, here's hope he does. Inamura's doing well in Tokyo. Poor lad never got a chance with us. I don't think he was better than what we had, to be fair. But we'll wait and see. We wait and see. What is going on? I wonder if let me just see this first of all. And do that, and I'll do this one actually. See, there's a lot of people just talking about oh, it's John Tarts, isn't it? Seriously, what is wrong? Don't know if anyone's interested in the teams tonight, but I will give you a rundown of the teams. In the main game of the SPFL tonight, that is the Hearts team, and then this is the Hibs team. So no idea if that's a good Hibs team or not. I couldn't tell you about the Hearts team. Braga is about the only player I know. But anyway, that's enough of that nonsense. With the schedule we have coming up, we need as much squad rotation as possible. Livy are poor, so maybe a chance for some of the fringe players to get a shout. Well, not according to Martin O'Neill. Martin O'Neill says that there was too many changes made in the last game, and that he doesn't foresee as many changes coming up. It will be more, not from the start. Anyway. Luke McCown would only be... Hearts have 3 players out, so let's hope Hibs win. Gordon's not been playing for Hearts for a couple of games. Craig Gordon's not been in goal for them for a couple of games. I think he only came in for the Celtic game. But like I say, I couldn't tell you if that's a good Hearts team or a bad Hearts team. Yeah, I know it is tomorrow. And the reason I'm on early tonight is because we're going to do a watch along, and I need to find out myself what channel the bloody game's on. I better just do that just now because I've not even got it set up. I'm gonna go back to that a second. Change the screen. And what TV? So on Premier Sports 1. Premier Sports 1 it's on. So there you go. Hearts missed Devlin. I want Hibs to win tonight and the Jambos to win on Sunday. I think that Sevco are our biggest threat. Celtic will win against Rangers and Hearts in the league, and we will win the Europa as well. I'll wait and see. Well, the Hearts... Keeper got the red at Dundee, and Gordon got subbed on. That's why he was on against us. That's there you go. There you go. But anyway, close that. Close. Keep that open. It would take the Huns and Hearts to both draw tonight and tomorrow, and then the weekend. That would be a Brucey bonus. It would be a Brucey bonus, but I mean, we're still going to be, but we're still a game behind. You know, so can Hibernian win at Hearts? I think they've won there once already this season, but they tend not to over the course of a season. They tend not to win at Hearts. Two seconds. I'll put the link back up. Spaz does football. And that should give you the link for it. Just double check that. There we go. Yeah, because I'm not sitting watching it on a Celtic channel. Fingers crossed for tonight. I thought Martin was funny in his press conference today. Getting his green scarf on for tonight. Yeah, I think we'll all have green scarves on tonight. I'm not going to have a fucking Hearts scarf on anyway, that's for sure. That is for sure. Right, that is me done and dusted. I'm going to go and grab some food before the game tonight. They lost 1-0 at Tynecastle. I think in a really late goal. I think the team will start picking up as when you look at the bench. Looks like players that can make a difference. Yes, it does that. You better bring us luck tonight, Baz. Lol. Better bring us luck tonight. I'd never watch a Rangers game. That's one thing. I mean, I know that there's a couple of Hearts games that we've watched on that channel, but you'll never catch me watching a Rangers game on it anyway. Right, that rotten mob won't have it easy. Motherwell tomorrow, Baz. No, they won't. And let's just hope that Motherwell, because Motherwell are they're still, they'll be thinking that they could try and get above one of the teams above them. Anyway, why the other channel, Baz? What's the difference? Because this is a Celtic channel and that's not a Celtic channel, and we're not watching a Celtic game. And you always get some folk moaning, "Why the fucking Celtic channel? What you do?" And plus, you'll get all sorts of Hearts fans trying to come into the chat. So anyway, and I can't be asked with the Huns are on board. It's just fucking watch the game and shut up. Anyway, that's me done and dusted. Way to rest the throat. Have a fantastic evening, Celtic fans, wherever you are, all around the world.